I'm Chris.
And I'm Chris.
And this is
Mike Fight. Let's get it on.
Welcome to episode 30. Today we're going to start talking about the generals, or the Biden administration's generals. And I say the Biden administration's generals because they are, oh my God, they are shielding him. They're blocking and bracing. Block away. Block. That it reminds me of that during the COVID, there was that woman that was doing that stupid dance, like the washing thing, right? And she was like, block this, block that. My kids were doing it all around. So what are they doing for the Biden administration? They're blocking everything. But then at the same time, they're throwing him under the bus because, oh no, we told him. He's got to have at least 2,500 troops there. Got to leave 2,500 troops. Leave the troop right there. 2,500, leave him right there. Leave him there and then get everyone else out. But Biden told Stephanopoulos that I wasn't told anything, not that I can recall. Well, of course you can't recall shit. You're senile. I mean, it's just the guy's lost his mind. Of course he doesn't remember crap. The fact of the matter is that the whole Afghan thing was a complete debacle. And these generals are out of their minds. They should be all court-martialed, in my opinion. What say you?
The I don't know argument is just what you say when you don't want to give an answer.
What is it? A plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah, because going to a hearing, what are the three things you can do? You can either tell the truth, you can lie, or you can just say, I don't remember. And that covers you on both ends, because now they can't accuse you of telling the truth and they can't accuse you of lying. So everybody goes in there and they just go, I don't remember. I don't remember. Or the new thing now where, because they were so obsessed with transparency, now it's, well, I'm not going to discuss the conversations that I had with the president. Which, in some circumstances, yeah, that's something that needs to be preserved, because not everything that's discussed in the White House needs to be given to the public.
Absolutely.
White House needs to be given to the public.
Obviously, the sensitive stuff of the country, right? We don't need to know every little detail that's going on in the Oval Office. I don't. However, when you go and you play the side where you want every freaking little thing from another administration, and then yet now when you're in power or your administration's in there and you don't, people can smell it coming off of you. Hypocrisy that is it is literally dripping off of you. People can smell it coming off of you. The hypocrisy, that's how bad it is.
Yeah, well, the thing is, when you're answering a question saying, I'm an advisor to the president, I don't make the decision. I'm just an advisor.
Advisor.
And then the next question is, okay, well, did you advise the president on how to go about doing this whole withdrawal? Well, I can't really say whether or not. Well, did you advise him or not? Well, I say things, but I can't really speak to what was said or whatever. It's like, you just said you're an advisor. The question's simple. Did you advise him? Yes or no? And not one of them could give an answer during that hearing. And it's because everyone, again, you can't lie. So you're just going to sit there. You're going to do a roundabout answer. You're going to not recall a bunch of other shit. And then you're going to go on your way and hope that everyone forgets what happened. Until you come out and you actually say, well, yeah, we told him that we needed 2,500 more troops.
Right.
Because it's in the record already. There's nothing you can do to talk your way out of that one.
Nope.
It's in the record. You suggested that.
Absolutely.
But they nailed.
But that here's the thing though. The whole hearing isn't going to go anywhere with these guys.
Oh hell no. No
way. We have Stuart Scheller, right? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Who's in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
He's now in solitary confinement because he said, or basically was up there proclaiming on viral video, saying that, did you guys literally put your entire career on the line and say this is wrong? Like, we should be doing it this way? Did any of you guys go out there and do that? And he got shit for this. Not only did he get shit, they basically put a gag order on him. And I want to make this explicitly clear. He knew of the gag order, and he knew what he was going to do or about to do, and understood the entire ramifications of what was going to happen, potentially happen, which he was like 99% sure was going to happen. So he came out with the video, and then basically waited, a day, 2 days, whatever it was.
Yeah.
They came to his house, and they arrested him. But not only did they arrest him, they put him in the brig.
Yeah.
Solitary confinement. This guy is like, and what did he do? He wasn't even involved.
Right.
He wasn't even directly involved with what happened. These 3 generals were.
Yeah, and it's the fall guy. They're always looking for a fall guy. So the 3 guys who were involved in coming up with this stupid plan that failed miserably, they get the hearings because it's a formality. They know they have to give the hearings. They know the public's going to scream for it. But everybody knows it's not going to go anywhere. At the end of the day, they were told to resign how many times by how many different senators. And they're just like, yeah, no, I serve at the pleasure of the president. So basically, I'm not going anywhere. Biden gets up on TV. I have full support in General Milley. Full support.
Yeah.
No, this is the same guy who said that he fully, supports his son and that his son is the smartest man he's ever met in his entire life. This is the same guy. So you need a fall guy. Well, who's sitting there and criticizing the decisions that you made? This guy, Schellers. So you take the disaster because that's what they're
Yeah, Biden's really good at that. Right. The whole thing with the damn Border Patrol, and now what does he do?
Right.
Deflecting on the cowboys
exactly
because of the whipping. Meanwhile, you got freaking 40,000, 100,000, 60,000 people coming across the border. There's over 400,000 people they're estimating that are going to be coming across this border by the end of this year. More than that. No, they're already at 1.5 million. They're thinking another 400,000 are going to be crossing by the end of the year. And the deflection. Oh, yeah. The bad men, bad border patrol on horses, whipping people.
Right, which was proven false the day
100%.
The person who even took the picture
100%
came out and said he wasn't whipping them. It was the reins. It was the angle of the photo that made it look like it was. He was simply riding his horse, and that guy in front of him was running away.
They'll pay.
That's it.
They'll
That's
pay.
All it was.
But again,
yeah, so it's deflection. So you take the focus off of them and you put it on this guy and you say, oh, well, he's being insubordinate. He's not supposed to speak out against the administration and his leaders, which is true. It's 100% right, and 99 times out of 100, everybody follows those directions. It's in any type of people who run the organization.
This guy has lost any type of a pension that he may have had. 17, 18 years in. So all he had to do was keep quiet for another 2 or 3, and he could have gotten his pension. It's a funding page that's there for his family. I think they set up this this FundMe page. It's not a GoFundMe page, but it's another like one of those FundMe pages. And the last time I heard, which was just a couple of days ago, they've amassed something like $800,000 for the family. Which is great. I listen. I think that's well deserved because now this guy's not going to get anything.
Yeah, but the problem is your money is they love to. But money's going to go.
Right.
To the
That's
to face a military trial. No one knows what the outcome's going to be.
Right.
And we all know that they love to make examples out of people who point out their hypocrisy and their shitty fucking decisions and end up costing the lives of 13. Marines.
13 Marines.
Right?
Definitely
and
the ultimate.
He calls them out and they go after him, but then they don't want to hold accountability to themselves for what happened.
In my opinion, is
disgrace.
Is an absolute disgrace. I have much respect for General Mattis. Why do I have much respect for General Mattis? Because General Mattis did the right thing. He resigned his post.
Right, which is what you're supposed to do.
When he didn't agree with what the president was doing or what direction the president was going, for whatever, maybe he just didn't like Trump at all, fine. But you know what? He did he did the right thing and resigned. He said, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be part of it. And that's all well and fine. Resign. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
And it sent waves, right? People were like, "Oh my God, Mattis is, the Trump is out of his mind." Whatever the reason was, these guys did nothing. They knew that it's not going to happen for at least a month. It happened in fucking 20 minutes. They gave up in 20 minutes. They took over.
But not only that, this whole time that we've been waiting, they have been parading across the country, taking city after city, taking city after city, going towards Kabul. It's like, what did you think was going to? They were just Kabul. It's like, what did you think was going to? They were just going to stop?
They were playing the game of Risk completely flat out in front of them, going across the land, and everything's fine. You got the president of Afghanistan saying to Joe Biden, "Joe, wake up, Joe!
Why though?
Wake up, Joe! They're coming." It doesn't matter if they're coming. Hey, it doesn't matter if they're coming. I think it's purposely. I think you're right, but not for the right not for conspiracy theory reasons. I think it's on purpose simply because the entire administration, including our president, is incompetent.
But this is the thing, right? If you watch those hearings, whenever a Democrat had his time or heard questions at the generals, what was the one thing they kept on harping on? Trump. Oh, General, yeah. It was a bad decision and it was a bad plan and it was catastrophic. But isn't it true that Trump's plan and that it was a pre-made decision and deal that you guys couldn't get out of, and deal that you
not true.
That is one. Oh yeah. I mean that's it goes without saying. It was a pre-made deal. Our hands were false by State Department documents that were released that state that they scrapped his whole plan and came up with their own plan to do this because Biden wanted to stop the war on the 20th anniversary. Look at me, I stopped endless wars. We were at war for 20 years. Then I came in and it was all me and it was on the anniversary.
Right, so that's the first thing.
I'm sailing off into the sunset.
That's right.
Best president in the history of the country.
That is absolutely right. What people probably don't know is that Trump's original plan was to have all this done in May.
Well, first it was in January. Then it was May.
January.
But he had the plan it set. We're going to bring people out group by group until May.
And if I remember correctly, Trump put almost like a contingency basically put in there that if there was any movement on the Taliban's part that was moving towards and becoming hostile towards any of this, everything was thrown off.
Right.
Everything was stopped.
Acknowledged.
Everything stopped.
They acknowledged.
And that's it. We're now staying until they fall back and we're just restarting the whole damn thing all over again because you fuckers decided to start, getting high and mighty again. That shit ain't happening.
Yeah.
And that's my point. It's to you, well, actually your point. It's hypocrisy because this is absolute horse shit from any type of Democrat that's coming out there and saying this was Trump's plan. Hello? No, proven 100% wrong.
Yeah.
100% wrong. And they're allowed to just say it. Again,
because no one questions them.
You could say whatever you want. I could say whatever I want. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Apparently, you can't say everything you want, though, because unless you're in the military, right? Because Scheller said whatever he wanted, and now he's in the brig.
Well, no, exactly. I mean, you could say whatever you want, but if you're not part of the crew and you're not part of the narrative, then they're just going to find a way to either cancel you, arrest you, or...
This guy, Milley, I am so pissed off. What balls do you have to go behind a sitting president and say to a foreign country, hey, listen...
Enemy.
Well, they're not even technically an enemy. Right? Because they're not declared an enemy, right? We can't even go that far. But they're definitely a rival. I would say strong rival. And at this point and say, things may be a little hostile, right? He said, the Trump administration, a little hostile toward you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to let you know if we decide to attack. What? What?
But he debunked his own statements and reasons.
He's a schmuck.
In the same breath, he completely debunked his own statements because he said his reason for calling the Chinese was because he felt that Trump was unhinged and had mental, a mental health crisis, and that he didn't feel that he was stable enough to make rational decisions, and that he felt that he could possibly drop nukes on China on his last day of office. Which, again, if you believe that, you're an absolute moron. Because what would be the point of that? First of all, you really think anybody, whether you like Trump or not, anybody in their right mind would start dropping nukes on a nuclear-powered country for no reason? No reason. No declaration of war, no attacks, nothing. Just one day wake up, you know what? Press the red button. Let's just fire 6 nukes at China. Are you out of your mind?
This is what people thought like the moment he came into office.
Right. And because it never came to fruition. The guy never started a new war. He never attacked anybody unless it was completely necessary. And what he did was strategic drone strikes. Never a ground war, okay?
No. He sat with the freaking Kim Jong-un guy.
Well, he sat with him. He sat with China. He sat with Putin. He sat with everybody who...
And talked. Right. He was the ultimate diplomat. Exactly. Like, this is like what you want from the president of the United States, right? You want them to sit down with foreign leaders and perhaps hash things out. Yeah. I mean, for God's sakes... Even Hitler sat down with the prime minister of what was his of UK. What the hell was his name? Starts with an N. But they sat down, and the guy proclaimed, "Oh, I have served peace. I have brought peace for years to come." Meanwhile, 2 days later, freaking Hitler goes and invades the Croatia or whatever. Well, not Croatia. The Czech. So it's like, you got to be kidding me! And then goes and gets Poland. Like, I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. You want leaders to sit down. The point was, you want leaders to sit down with other foreign leaders who, even if they're hostile, right? Even if they're hostile, you want them to sit down. You want them to talk, because the last thing anybody wants is freaking war.
Well, you would think that, but the problem is that Trump is anti-war. He's been outspoken about the Iraq war, even the Afghanistan war to an extent, about how he completely disagreed with that, and that was one of the biggest things that he went after Bush for.
He said that for years.
And that's why Bush and him never got along. Bush couldn't stand him for that reason to start with, and then, whatever other reasons after that. But he was anti-war. So his whole mentality was, wherever I can get troops out, we're going to get troops out. Wherever we can do a peace treaty, we're going to do a peace treaty. Whoever I can speak to keep things from escalating, that's who I'm going to speak to. And people destroyed him for it. But who are these people in government, and what is their goal? Their goal is to have war. These people love war. They love it. Yeah. They make a shit ton of money off of it. And it solidifies their fingerprint in these other parts of the world. So, do they really want to get out of Afghanistan? In my opinion, I don't think they did. I think they had to, because it was all set up to happen, and people were
Who's
tired
they? The generals?
The administration on a whole.
So the Biden administration?
Yes. Even in Trump's administration, like Mattis. Mattis, most respect that I can give, he gets it. But I believe he left Trump's administration because he didn't agree with Trump's diplomatic approach to war. Okay. I think he was a guy who not enjoyed war, but he's been in a lot of wars. That's what he's known his whole life. That's what he's good at. And I think he left because he didn't agree with what his plans were for
a lot of the withdrawal,
the Middle East. Yeah.
So I think, I'll go along with that. I think a lot of people don't necessarily like the idea, but there's a balance, and what people don't understand is that the United States is everywhere. We have military personnel in just about every single country, like all over. Yeah. All right. That's obviously a hyperbole, but it is to a certain extent. We are in the mix just about everywhere that we need to be. What is more of the issue is what type of personnel and how much, right? And what's actually there. We weren't, from my understanding, when you do a withdrawal, it's not every single solitary entity is coming out. Like, from my understanding, there was going to be like a small reserve left.
They were going to leave the embassy and embassy personnel, diplomats,
right?
And
that doesn't. And there are also there's some military people there. I mean, again, it's not.
Well, you got to protect the embassy,
right? You got to protect the embassy. It's not like a whole full ass army. But I mean, that's what people don't understand. You want the diplomatics. You want the diplomacy to remain. You don't want that to leave. Right. What you want to leave is the military presence because, hey, after all, it's 20 freaking years. This country should be able to stand on its own 2 feet now.
Yeah.
If you've been doing your job right.
Right.
Obviously, there's been some problems with what we were doing, or the people themselves don't know what to do.
Well, it's because it's the imperialism argument, right? So it's what people complain about the United States is that it's imperialistic. So what do? Like you said, you want to keep an embassy there, a small contingent of troops.
Right, the diplomacy.
But it's also for surveillance purposes, right? So if you have people there, it's easier to gauge what's happening in that country on the ground, so you can be better prepared in case something happens. Especially in a country like Afghanistan, we have the Taliban and Al Qaeda who've been attacking us for God knows how long now. That's from a strategic standpoint. The problem people have with the United States is we go to a country like Afghanistan and then we try to impose our way of living, our type of government on that country. And a country like Afghanistan is tribal. It's literally tribal.
It's all tribes.
There is no sense of nationalism. There's no sense of togetherness. It's not 17 cities and they all speak to each other and everybody comes to a common goal. Every single region is controlled by a different group of people who have their own personal interests and, I mean, frankly, all want to destroy each other and rule. I mean, that's what it comes down to in basics. But they did not want us to come in there, unify the entire country, create some democratic form of government where everybody gets to vote and everybody gets a say in everything. They didn't want that. That's our way of life. They don't agree with that. Now, that may be the best way in most people's eyes to run a country where you have a government that's represented by its people. You have equal rights amongst, everybody in the population. Obviously, that's a good thing. But some countries, some people are not ready for that yet.
But who is? I think, because I'll push back on you on that, because I think the people, like the main people there, are wanting that.
Yes, some of the civilians, yes.
And again, 20 years, there are some people that teenagers that they've lived their entire life under this new way of living. Yeah. And now that is the only way they know. Right. And they want that. It's more of, in my opinion, it's more of these older leadership personnel and these the crazies that are pushing for this archaic way of living. Literally, they live in mountains, and they're living in the Stone Age, purposefully. Yeah. We're 21st century here. There is no reason to be living that way.
No, but what did we do? We've been there for 20 years,
and we never bothered.
They set up a government, and what did that government do? Clearly not enough.
Nothing.
They didn't unify anybody. They didn't create any type of...
This is I'm going to say this. 10 years ago, I saw a video, maybe even 15 years ago, I saw a video, and this is when I knew that this was going to be trouble. I knew 15 years ago, I'm going to say. Saw a training video, okay, of the United States soldiers training the Afghani soldiers.
Right.
I knew when the guy was trying to teach the Afghani soldier how to do a jumping jack, and the guy couldn't get it done, I said, then we got a problem. They ain't going to be able to do this. The guy can't learn how to do a jumping jack. How the hell is he going to stand against an entity in which he's been told his entire life is like so much stronger, so much more, so nasty, right? They're killers. He sees these people coming. He can't do a jumping jack to save his life. You think he's going to save someone else's? I mean, come on.
Milley knew that too because he blew up his own spot when they asked him about that too.
Oh.
Whether or not they were trained. Well, we knew that the special forces at least were good enough to handle whatever it was that was coming their way. And to the senator, I forgot who it was, to his credit, what percent of the military was the special forces? 1%. So you're telling me that you're okay with the 1% of the military that you trained being able to fight and the other 99% of the military being incompetent and stupid?
This is
like,
really? Just...
And you're surprised that the government fell day one and that the country was lost in a matter of 4 days. You're surprised by that.
The Biden administration, Biden himself, again, we don't, I hate to say this, but I really don't know what's going through his mind. I don't know what he's actually thinking. I don't know if he actually can think on his own. Any of that, I don't know. What I do know is that these three generals advised the president on something. It wasn't done. They stayed in their positions at their post, saw the whole thing through, lied to the American people every time they were asked about how everything is going, how everything will be going, how is this going to spell out. And they literally said, this is going fine. This will be fine. This will be orderly. This will be systematic. This will be this. This will be that. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. We have 13 dead Marines. Okay? We don't have anything going. We didn't get all the U.S. citizens out. There are still some U.S. citizens there, partly because of their own fault, but we can talk on that at another topic. And complete disillusion from the entire world. The Parliament in UK said that this was the worst thing that they ever said, is complete chaos. France is freaking pissed at us, which is like unbelievable. And Putin is probably jumping up and down, and China's having a big laugh about it.
Yeah. Well,
Bottom line is, these three individuals were just terrible. They lied to us. They're covering for the president as best as they can. They should have resigned if they didn't agree with what was going on, but no. They stayed at their post, and as a result, we have 13 dead Marines. How many other Afghani civilians were killed in those bomb attacks? This is just a disaster. They're too busy looking for the guy who may have killed his girlfriend. Whatever it is. Should be national news. This happens all the time.
Biden
Foundations that the government does for us.
The Afghan president telling him to lie and tell everybody that everything's going great. President telling him to lie and tell everybody that everything was going great.
It doesn't matter. It's the perception. It doesn't matter. It's the perception. It's the perception.
It
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's the perception. It's the perception. It doesn't matter. It's the perception.
Trump was impeached over with Ukraine. Here you have a record where he's
it's the perception.
Trump was impeached over with Ukraine. Falsely. Here you have a record where he's on tape impeached over with Ukraine falsely. Here you have a record where he's on tape saying, "Tell everybody everything's going great. Otherwise, we're going to pull air support." That is right there. Is
quid pro quo.
Right there. You just did again, because this isn't the first time Biden did it. We can talk about the lawyer in Ukraine and him saying he was going to pull the $1 billion funding if he didn't fire the prosecutor that was, investigating his son and his corrupt company.
Oh yeah.
That was the first time that he laughed it off, and everybody just ignores that. Here's the second time he has another quid pro quo. This time, again, resulting in the deaths of our own military, American citizens, Afghani citizens. Nobody says a word. And then you have guys like General Milley, who, when Trump was president, thought that they were the ones who should make the ultimate decision in contacting generals and letting them know whether or not we're going to attack, when that is the sole job of the commander-in-chief, which is the President of the United States. Not General Milley, the President of the United States. When it's Trump, Milley has no problem calling the Chinese Communist Party's head general and having a sit down with him and promising him, don't worry, we're not going to hurt you, we're not going to attack you, I'll make sure of it. By the way, under the direction of Nancy Pelosi, who's another piece of shit, who should also be fired from her position and in jail. But under Biden, it's, oh no, I'm just an advisor. Biden makes the ultimate call. I can't make that decision for him. Really? Because you just said that you made the decision for Trump because Trump was mentally incompetent. Well, if he was that incompetent, then you should have invoked the 25th Amendment. You should have resigned your position. Instead, you took it upon yourself to go underneath the radar.
Did it behind his back.
Contact the Chinese Communist Party and cut a deal with them. But when it's Biden in office, it's, well, Biden makes the final decision. I'm just an advisor. Well, did you advise him? Oh, well, I can't discuss that. They're just a roundabout,
all horseshit.
Shitty people.
All horseshit.
They're all liars. They're all frauds. And every single one of them. Lloyd Austin, we didn't even touch on him. Another piece of shit that has no idea what he's doing.
He's a joke.
They're literally running the military into the ground.
And that's why I come back to my other point. They don't. You said that they're doing this on purpose, and I agree with you, but not for the same reason. I think it is purposeful, but simply because they are incompetent. They have no idea as to what is going on or what to do. It is a complete joke. Tell us what you think. Write in the comments below. Tell us what you feel about this. Are we on point? Are we off point? Give us something that we don't know. Tell us something that we haven't discussed. Let us know in the comments below. All right. And with that, we're out. I'm Chris.
And I'm Chris.
And this is where we drop the mic.